This is such a unique story and project. What was each of your initial reactions when you read this script? Max, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, do you know what I was terrified. It felt like such a mammoth role, and I the first time I read it with like a more dramatic lens on the script, and
Mm.
I didn't read it initially as like I knew it was, but I didn't read it initially as a comedy, especially coming at it from the perspective of Oliver. I was reading the script from that perspective, so I was like, gosh, this is terrifying. I don't know how I could potentially even do this or bring this to life. And then it was through speaking to Martin, our director, and getting some references and um, understanding the tone a bit more, that I was super excited to, like, because I just feel like movies like this really don't get made anymore, and it's just a gift really of a role and a gift of a script to just be able to bring to life.
I was instantly kind of in love with Mitch's happy-go-lucky nature and the fact that he has kind of like nothing to lose because he's dead. So it's just kind of like you're used to, as an actor, playing the vulnerability and the high stakes and there's this and there's that. And I was just like, obviously there's layers to this, but it's all positive. All of it is above zero and there's just so much fun to be had. And Max does all the hard work. And then I spoke to a friend of mine who's worked with Martin before, and he said how amazing and fun Martin was to work with. And then spoke to Martin, and all of those words seemed to be true. And yeah, I knew I was on board from then.
Max, you handle Oliver's journey with so much nuance. How did you create this space for yourself to dive into his emotional
I
arc?
always find the more acting questions more hard. I don't know why, than the ones about the story, but I think finding nuance in performance is understanding the character's internal world beyond the script. And I think that me and Martin, and I work with an amazing performance coach, Ali Rashley, we made some really specific decisions, which I won't divulge, about, what happened to Oliver when he was at the psychiatric hospital and why he doesn't want to go back there. And we made those decisions very early on. And I think if you can let that world live and you can have everything sat on an undercurrent of something that isn't written at all times, then it allows you to be free and nuanced in the script and the discovery of the other performances that you're receiving. Because the last thing that I could have done really as this character was make a real firm decision about everything that I'm going to do and then not respond to my own things that are coming from my own imagination. So it was a really visceral and visual project for me, because I was really, like, I was responding to the world around me, the zombies, the set, the costumes. It was real. I had to be forensic in that sense. And that's how I brought nuance to it, I think.
Great answer. Hero, you're known for all the dramatic work that you've done on screen. What has it been like for you getting to step into this comedy genre, especially with a character who has so much physical comedy?
Yeah, I think it was just freeing for me, man. I think freeing but testing in the same way, even though they feel like that you wouldn't be able to use those words together. I feel like just seeking a bit of a new challenge, but a challenge that felt like fun and something that I could kind of like step up into rather than step back down into, if that makes sense. I knew I wanted to do something different given the work I've previously done, and it ticked all of those boxes for me and was a welcomed, enjoyable challenge. Yeah.
Max, there's such a great chemistry that comes off the screen between you and the entire cast. How were you able to build that chemistry while filming during a pandemic?
Oh, we literally just spent loads of time together. It was forced time. So it was, obviously we were all forced to spend time with each other. So that naturally came out. And also, like, a lot of us had breaks from stuff that we were supposed to be working on or stuff that we were working on. So this was one of the first projects that I did. We did it during the pandemic. So we were all like a bit eager to spend time with people, and because our bubble had increased, lots of us had come from places where we couldn't be with more than two people. So and also, like, I can't lie to you, I was huge fans of lots of these actors' works, and it was just a pleasure to really get to pick their ear about the work that they've done, the people they've worked with, and also get to know them a bit and play cards and watch Hero play football, because I can't play football, but just have like fun stuff outside of work. But we also all live together, so that forced fun is kind of
I
what
have to I
happened.
have to tag on the end. I keep saying I have to add something onto the end of that. And for everyone got on so well, but I do think, Max, I do have to say credit yourself in the fact that you were one of the first ones there. You really did make sure you gelled everyone together and made sure everyone knew each other and spent some time with each other. And like you said, and the fact that we were all in that hotel, home, house, it was a bit of everything. And there were so many of us there. I think you really did play a key role in making sure everyone, you know, kind of like came together, got to know each other, because we all had a little bit of that post-lockdown social anxiety. And yeah, no, I would agree with everything Max said, and reiterate how fundamental you were in making that the case.
Thanks. I'm a good party host as well. Like, I love to throw a party, so that might be why I'm like to be a host. Make sure everyone's looked after.
You did.
And Hero, Martin directed the film, but he actually got his start as an actor. Is the experience different when you're collaborating with a director who has experience in front of the camera? What was that collaboration like?
I think there definitely is. I also just think, from my experience acting with someone and working with Martin, and someone who kind of like comes from similar enough backgrounds, close, relatively young for a director, I think that kind of was the main thing that stood out to me about the difference of working with him. Was just that he felt like similar, like a friend. And a lot of the time directors, especially when I've started my work as an actor at a younger age, I felt like, wow, they're a lot older, they're boss, they come from a different part of the world, that's my boss. And this time it really just felt like I was collaborating with a peer and a friend. And I mean, having said all of that, he obviously has masses of experience and knows exactly what he's doing, and he's actually an incredible, hilarious person and actor. He's really great. So I love his cameo in there. And he is really good at knowing what the actor wants and where the actor wants to come from. So always a blessing working with people like mine.
And this is a question for the both of you. You've both worked on projects of all sizes. What is it about independent filmmaking that excites you both as creatives?
The scripts, because I'd say like independent film scripts are always so ambitious, and they get to be ambitious because the writers aren't constrained by the studio in terms of like what they can and can't write based on the budget. So I always also really, I don't know, there's something innately gorgeous and nuanced about lots of scripts that I get to read that are from independent films. Not that studio films aren't great, because, you know, lots of the great films that get made these days and go to festivals and win awards and go on to be bought by studios anyway. So these little independent films become studio movies at this stage of their distribution. So I just think I love that filmmakers get to be real filmmakers in independent film, and I just think more stories get to be told from different perspectives and from a more diverse perspectives, and people really get to have a hold on their own work. And I don't know, I just love independent film. Sorry, I could go on about for years about independent film, especially British independent film as well, like as a Brit. So I love. There we go, that's the answer from me. I could go on too much, I'm going to stop myself.
No, I completely agree, man. There is something special about it, and there are loads of special things about it that we could talk about. I think one for me personally that I would note as what I love about British independent film, is the fact that it feels like there's less of a hierarchy than there usually is on film sets, and it feels like everyone is a bit more on the same level, and we're really kind of coming together to collaborate, as opposed to like, you know, all just falling in place and turning up to do a day job and be a day player and do this. It really does feel like we are all working together, and we all have just as much vested interest in this. It's not just like you're paying me to help with your project. We're all coming together to really like make something that we all care about and we all love. Yeah.
I love that. Final question for the two of you. This is such a visually stunning film. Is there a particular scene that you're really excited for audiences to see when it drops?
I like the bathroom one that you touched on before. I just enjoyed doing that. There's one of me and Max in the bathroom. That's quite fun.
I think the sequence where Oliver goes to find his family, I won't give too much away, but the sequence where he's actually goes at night to find his family, and the sequence of bringing Hero home, and I think that it's cut together in such a snappy way, and it's like, it's really exciting. I think people will really, that's the point in the film that people don't really know what to, they're like, oh, do I like Oliver anymore? Do I know what's going on? It's like, it feels like a twist, but it's not a twist. So I think people will really enjoy that visually. I think the graveyard, we shot on an actual graveyard. It wasn't a soundstage, it was a graveyard in Wales, and it looks like a massive, huge soundstage because they lit it so beautifully. It was honestly like wild. But I think the church and the graveyard look stunning at night, so those shots I think would be really special.
I also want to just chuck in that one where Evan is first walking around the house and kind of just missing everything without giving too much away. I really enjoyed watching that one back. So yeah, a lot to love. But I'd agree with you so much. I think everyone did such a good job in bringing that to life visually. I think they did. You know, the set deck and VFX guys, and yeah, visually it's a fun one.